the running is a big piece of my recovery. It's not something I depend on for my recovery. When I say recovery, I mean recovery from alcohol and drug abuse.
All right, so it's 100 miles roughly. And how long do you have to run 100 miles?
So that's a good question. That describes what kind of race you're running. Because each race has a cutoff time period. We talked about Barkley. I don't know. You've got a lot of hours to finish Barkley, right? Because it's a really difficult race. Another incredibly difficult race in the U.S. is Hard Rock. I think you get 48 hours to finish Hard Rock. It's in the San Juan Mountains of Colorado with some 14,000 foot type stuff. Superior, which is one of the harder races, has a 38-hour cutoff. Some easier races may have like a 24-hour cutoff, meaning you have that much time to complete the race. So you can kind of get a sense of the difficulty of the course by how long you're allowed to run it. Excuse me.
So if you're running 100 miles, I imagine there's a lot of misery involved with some of that.
There is. It's a different kind of misery. You really need to consider the difference between discomfort and pain if you want to get through it, I think. Because discomfort is something that's very acceptable and temporary. And so I think usually the miserable moments have come about because of weather. When you find the body's limits is where the misery piece is, and usually that quite often that can be weather related, because I mean you when the weather says you're gonna stop now, that's I mean I can think of races where I say miles 30 through 70 were really painful, but you just keep pushing through them and moving through them. Usually what you see is just mental basket cases. And again, maybe that comes from sleep deprivation, from just the wanting to stop but keep working through it, that kind of thing. But usually it's I know some people who like break their arms and keep running, or sprain their wrists and keep running, that kind of thing, get it looked at afterwards. But usually what stops people, it's all up here. It's their heads, it seems. You just see mental basket cases.
You see people crying? And I ask that because I got to tell you, I mean, it to be that spent, it would do it to a lot of people, I'd imagine.
You might see them crying, especially in the late night stuff. I think 2-3 a.m. is when you see some real messy, sloppy stuff. Yeah, you'll probably see people crying.